So I've been running a development agency for the past 2.5 years now, and we do in the six-figure range in revenue. And there was a comment on one of my previous videos asking about how to do kind of proper, really personalized outreach. So I am generally not a big fan of like totally cold outreach and just spamming people. And I've made a video speaking out on that before. But how do you do good outreach? Because I do think that exists. And I think cold outreach can be done well in very, very small quantities. So when you do it to a very, very targeted audience, that is the biggest limitation of cold outreach. It's when you have a bad lead list. And I can go into why it doesn't work super well for software development, but it has to do with like spotting the right prospects. It's a really, really big challenge. But how do you do warm outreach and how do you do it well? And if you're going to have to do it cold, how do you make it a little bit warmer? And first and foremost, the biggest thing I would say is like send a video. It is so easy to record videos nowadays, and that it is so much more human that makes the biggest difference. And I'm not talking about like, record one time and send it to a bunch of people. I'm not talking about recording something for a social platform. I'm talking about make a Loom video for them. Make something that's genuinely personalized and is actually you and your face and you talking to them directly. That goes a really, really long way. And that speaks volumes about your personality. It just like humans are really good at sniffing out somebody who just looks off, who just, I don't know, they just rub you the wrong way a little bit and you don't really know why. And because humans tend to be good at that, when we text somebody, like our instincts aren't as good at understanding that. Whereas in a video, immediately you can understand a lot more of like the kind of like facial expressions and other cues that you might give off, potentially even subconsciously. So, tone, intonation, all of these things, they come across in a video. And that makes a huge difference when you reach out to somebody. I did spend some time doing some cold outreach to a bunch of people. Actually, the reason why I didn't scale it was because LinkedIn has now capped the number of outreaches that you can make, which I find extremely frustrating. But nonetheless, I spent some time doing outreach and I recorded these Loom videos. I literally recorded like a minute for everybody. And it was just, it was pretty grueling work. It wasn't very fun, right? You end up recording a lot of videos, but if you're going to do it, that is the way that you get responses. And that definitely had the highest response rate of any kind of outreach that I've done before. And the way I would do warm outreach is just like that. Warm outreach by default means it is warm. That means it is somebody that you already know that is in your network. And so we're not talking about totally cold strangers here anymore. We're talking about people who are in your network. And the biggest thing I would say is like, don't try to sell somebody up front. Warm outreach is more about letting people know gently that you exist, basically. Put simply, it's basically telling people that you exist and that you might be able to help them if they have the problem that you solve for. So for example, hey, we launched a new offer, or we're raising prices in a month, and so I want to tell you something like that, basically that brings you to the top of their mind and then specifically asks them, oh, do you know anybody that might be able to help? So that's a campaign that oh my God, I can't speak, that I want to run in the next few weeks or so. And it's not something that you can obviously do often. Like you cannot bombard your entire contact list like this constantly. But every once in a while, like if you just message people, like first just start by not talking about your thing. Ask about them. Like actually care about people. Actually ask them what's going on in their lives, and not just for the sake of like going through the motion, but actually give a shit. And if they answer something interesting, say, oh, that's really cool. Like, what's up with that? Tell me more, whatever. Like if you can help them out in some way, introduce them to somebody. People really appreciate that. Do something for everybody in your network and then present your ask and you will get so much further. Now, is that the most scalable and easiest process to run? No. Did I say it was going to be easy? Also no. So like, it's just, if you want to do warm outreach and you want to do it well, that's what it takes. I think that would be the biggest thing. It's like, videos, send videos. If you want to access people who are slightly outside your network, send videos. Those are really, really powerful. And if you want to work with people inside your network, don't be a dickhead and actually like talk to people as humans, and try and help them. And maybe, just maybe, they might be able to help you out. But you have to go out of your way for them first. And that's just like a pretty simple rule of thumb. Another thing I would add here though is like, that's when you want to ask something of somebody, but also you can just like you can passively do warm outreach, really warm outreach. If you want to grow your warm outreach, that effectively just means make more friends. That is what it means. That is networking, all of that stuff. It really just means like when you kind of like operationalize that, the only thing it actually translates into is making more friends. They can be close friends, they can be acquaintances, but it is like some kind of personal relationship with more people. That is the essence of networking and warm outreach and all that stuff. And that is where hobbies have a big part to play. These hobbies don't have to be expensive, like it's just any kind of hobby, but that is also how you grow your network and how you can do more warm outreach. So, for example, let's say I sign up for a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym in London, and at that gym I go on a weekly basis several times and I meet a bunch of people, and said people eventually become my friends, and there I have grown my network, and like I now have a point through which to access people. Like you can access people who are far above your level through these random and obscure hobbies. And yes, it is a bit of like blind luck, but if you just meet more people, you increase that luck. But fundamentally, like I've seen people take that approach of like providing value to somebody just too far, where like there are some people that you cannot provide value to, and hobbies are like a third door in there. So for example, like if you put Jeff Bezos in front of me, is there something that I could do today that would provide him value, like at a financial level? Probably not. Like he's got all the people, he's got all the money and the companies and all those things. Like I'm not going to do anything, but I can make friends with him through other things. Um, and I mean that's a bit tangential to the original point, but I think still worth mentioning and something that a lot of people miss out on. Like it's a balance though. You also can't go too hard. You can also use that as an excuse to basically spend a bunch of money doing stupid things for fun and call it like networking and making friends, when really you're just avoiding working, which is also not going to lead you very far. So like you have to balance this, and you have to walk that tightrope, and usually you probably want to lean on the side of not that stuff until you have a lot of money, because um, most of the time that stuff is like hobbies get expensive. um, But I think that's the biggest thing. When you warm outreach to people, care. Just actually give a shit. This includes in the videos as well. When I say make them personalized, if you can afford to, I'm not talking about, just saying, hey Josh, and then the rest of it, right? Like following some script. It's like, hey, I saw you did this, and for that reason I wanted to reach out because I think that's really interesting and I'd love to chat. And if you have an ask, be upfront about it. If you want to pitch them on something, be just, hey, listen, I saw this experience. I think it's really cool. Being fully upfront and honest with you, I do run this company, and I was, curious if you're interested. But if not, listen, no problem at all. I totally get it. But I just thought I'd reach out anyway. So there, you have immediately said like, listen, I do have something to sell you. Like I'm coming out and saying that, but I completely get it if not. So for like just treat people as people. And I think that's something that a lot of messaging lacks. They're just like, how do you optimize the numbers? And it's at the end of the day, it's just, you're just dealing with humans. And so if you want to do like personalized cold outreach, do videos, and do videos where you show that you care. And you can do this in a variety of contexts, not just, in my case, I run a software development company. I don't think cold outreach works the best because the problem is you cannot easily identify who is a viable prospect. That is the main problem with cold outreach, because you can't, like, people don't advertise that they're looking for contracting agencies generally. They might advertise that they're looking for developers, for full-time developers, but those guys don't want contractors, because contractors and full-time hires serve a different purpose. They both have their place, but they serve a different purpose. And the guys who do want contractors and are actively posting about looking for them are usually on, Fiverr and Upwork, which is not where you want to be, because, you just compete on price, and generally not great. And so that is something that I think is like big. It's just, if you want to reach out and you have somebody who you think is a good prospect, send a Loom video, do something like that. But most of the time, the bigger problem is not the actual outreach, that, it's the lead list. if I send a bunch of cat people, like food for dogs, nobody's going to buy. It is about the lead list. That is the big bottleneck. And one of the reasons why it sucks in software. Um, and also there's a huge mental spam filter. Anyway, I went on into all of this in my other video. But yeah, that video was in my little like to-do list for a while, so I thought I'd record on it. I'm gonna go to sleep, and tomorrow I'm gonna be trying to build a product in like 24 hours as a part of this little hackathon thing that I'm doing, which I think will be pretty fun. We'll see how that goes, but 24 to 48 hours basically. So that's it.